Hello there, it's Dina here of Soul Purpose Publishing and Coaching. And today my video's title is How to Diffuse Your Triggers. Now, of course, we know triggers are those little things that we see or that we touch or hear that evokes an emotion. It triggers you into fear or guilt or shame or anger or any of the low vibrations. Now, what's important here is that you cannot change the trigger. You cannot change the trigger because you don't have control over what comes at you. What you want to change is, of course, your reaction to it, so that you don't feel fear or anger or whatever emotion, so that you can respond differently. Because remember, if you've watched any of my videos, we respond or react from state. It's the structure of human experience. We we experience the world through our senses, what we see and think about it, and as we do that, we feel a thought and an emotion. They go together, and then of course that puts you in a state, and then we respond from state. We either say what we want to say or we take action, and then there's a result. So that's the structure of human experience. That also shows the relationship that we have. So as you cannot change the trigger, you cannot control over what people say to you or show to you or what you see around you or what triggers a thought in you to an old memory. You have no control over that. You have control over is to change the relationship with the trigger. Now, of course, we have a relationship with everything. Every person, everything around us, we have a relationship. And the relationship is the meaning we give it, the label we give it. Like a chair. Relationship with a chair is something to sit on. Something that we want to be careful about is, of course, the stories, the labels we attach to things. Because often those stories are not even yours. You have inherited them from your parents or your teachers or some authority figure that you adopted that story, that meaning as your own. So, of course, how we change the meanings is we change our stories about them. We look at what else can they mean. When we do that, we experience a different state. It's a different mind-body state, and that would mean that you would behave differently. You would say something different. You would take another action. So, if you get to the bathroom, for example, in the morning, and the toothpaste is pressed in the middle, and you really have something about anybody pressing the toothpaste tube in the middle, you're going to lose your toys. And that's the meaning. What does it mean to you when someone does that? It means that they are whatever. Are they wasting the toothpaste? Are they making the tube look ugly? Is it because your mother or your father had a thing against pressing the tube in the middle? If you become aware of that and think, oh my gosh, I'm so angry now. Why? Why does this upset me? And if you really become quiet and say, where does this come from? It will show you, your mind will show you that memory of whoever threw their toys out of the cot because of the toothpaste. Now, there is the relationship. So, if you change the relationship by changing the meaning to say, it doesn't matter, or it just shows that, where there are more toothpaste in the tube, it is irrelevant. Now, when we start doing that, we develop a state of neutrality against things so that we don't react to it. And that, my dear, that is the start of self-mastery. When we don't react to things, to life, because that's how we create our suffering, is we react to everything. We want everything to be different. We don't like it. And of course, then your ego will, like a nagging wife, yap, yap, yap about it all the time. So when it happens, change it right there. Become aware, become still, and say, what is this about? Do I really believe this? What do I believe about that? What does this mean? And what else could it mean? And this is actually a lovely game to play. Game with yourself to change the meanings of things. To look at anything that's happened and say, what do I believe about that? What else could it mean? And what else? And what else? And what else? And even if you laugh and make up ridiculous meanings about what things could mean, what that does is it opens your mind. It expands your consciousness. Because we can easily get into habitual thinking. And that's our default thinking. And that means your brain is not, nothing stops it. It goes directly to the old thought. Unless you change it. And remember, what else, does this game do to change your meanings? It shows you that you are not your thoughts. You can have a different thought. You are not your emotions. You can change them like you change your shoes. If you don't like how something makes you feel, change the thought until you get to the place where it either makes you feel neutral about it or it makes you feel good about it. I hope I make sense. So we can reinvent ourselves completely by changing our meanings. We can create a whole new reality by refusing to complain, refusing to be reacted into to be pulled into a reaction, where we refuse to take things personally. When we start doing those things, our lives change because we don't get that rubber band reaction all the time that makes us feel bad. Because the next thing that happens, if you lose your temper, the next thing that happens is that you feel guilty about losing your temper. And then the next thing you tell yourself is, I'm such a loser. I lost my temper again. These are all meanings that we give. When we change the root, that, make it a rule. I don't take anything personally. I don't allow anything to upset me. It's not worth it. Anything that evokes a negative emotion in me, I will change it because it is not who I am. When we start doing that and we start becoming neutral to things that previously evoked a reaction in us, that is peace. It is self-mastery. It makes you feel so in charge of yourself. And remember, it's not about being in control. You cannot control anything. We cannot control. We let go of control. What we choose is to be in charge of our thoughts and our emotions, because we can be in charge. We can choose what we want to think and we can choose how we want to feel. Okay. The other last thing is, when you change that relationship with the trigger, rehearse it, visualize it, see yourself behaving differently, see yourself feeling differently. And you know what? When you do that a few times in your mind, yes, when the trigger happens, you're going to react the first time. You might do it the second time. You might even do it the third time. But the fourth time, you're going to catch it. You won't do it again. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.